At 87, I live alone, no partner, no daily visitors. Just the creaking of my wooden floors and the occasional hum of the refrigerator breaking the silence. A few years ago, mornings felt heavy. I'd wake up, stare at the ceiling, and wonder what I was even waking up for. The house felt colder after my husband passed. The phone rang less, the days dragged more. I was taking 9 medications, had trouble walking without holding onto furniture, and sometimes forgot why I walked into a room. But the real breaking point came one ordinary morning. I was trying to open a jar of tomato sauce, something I'd done 1,000 times before. My hand shook, and no matter how tightly I gripped, the lid wouldn't budge. I ended up calling my neighbor to help. She was kind, but I could feel the pity in her eyes. When she left, I just sat at the kitchen table and cried. Not because of the jar, but because I realized how helpless I had become. That was the moment I knew something had to change. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I didn't want to simply exist anymore. I wanted to feel alive again. That same night, after wiping away tears and eating plain toast for dinner, I opened my laptop and typed something into Google I'd never thought to search before. How do older people stay healthy alone? That simple question led me down a rabbit hole of stories, real stories, about people in their 80s, 90s, and even beyond 100 who were still gardening, volunteering, dancing, laughing. I came across a group known as the Blue Zones, regions of the world where people live the longest, healthiest lives. But it wasn't just about what they ate or how much they walked. It was how they started their day, with purpose, with rhythm, with intention. That's when I made a decision. No more surviving. I would create a new morning routine, one that didn't rely on medication or motivation, but on tiny habits I could do no matter how I felt. I decided to give myself 30 days. What happened in that month was more than I ever imagined. I didn't just feel better physically. I felt like I was reconnecting with the version of myself I hadn't seen in years. Over time, that routine evolved into 5 simple habits that now anchor every day of my life. They don't require much. No gym membership, no expensive supplements, just consistency and care. And today, I want to share them with you, because they just might bring you back to life the way they brought me back to mine. Morning habit 1. Light before anything else. The first habit that changed everything was light. Not a miracle supplement, not stretching, not even coffee, just light. Every morning, within 30 minutes of waking, I sit by the east-facing window in my small dining room. I don't wear glasses, I don't scroll through my phone. I just sit there with my hands wrapped around a warm glass of water, letting the early sunlight touch my face and enter my eyes. At first, I didn't think something so simple could make a difference, but within the first 2 weeks, my sleep started improving. I stopped waking up 5 or 6 times a night, my dreams became clearer, and for the first time in years, I woke up before my alarm and didn't feel tired. That's because early morning sunlight resets something deep inside us, a tiny part of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It's like our internal clock, and as we age, that clock gets slower, foggier. But morning light tells it, wake up, it's time to be alive again. I learned that this ritual isn't just about sleep, it also lowers morning cortisol levels, helps balance mood, and even improves digestion. The best part? It's free. If you don't have a bright window, you can sit outside or use a light therapy lamp. The key is to do it every morning, around the same time, before your body gets flooded with caffeine or screen time. These 10 quiet minutes with the sun made me feel like I was syncing my body with nature again. It's not a task anymore, it's a ritual, and one I never skip. Morning habit 2, the gratitude and memory practice. After my sunlight ritual, I move on to what I now call my mindful memory moment. It started with a simple notebook, one I bought from the dollar store with flowers on the cover. In it, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. But not just the generic, my home or my health. I dig deeper. I connect each gratitude to a memory, a texture, a sound, or a feeling. One morning I wrote, "I'm grateful for the sound of my granddaughter's laugh last Sunday, when she spilled orange juice all over my table. I could still hear it, bright and bubbling, like music." Another day, "I'm grateful for the way my old quilt felt against my skin last night, soft, familiar, like being hugged by history." This exercise takes no more than 5 minutes, but its power is unmatched. It's not just about feeling good, it's about training my brain to notice joy again. See, when you live alone, the days can blend together. And when you're older, people assume your life is behind you. But this habit reminded me that my story is still being written. Neuroscience backs it up, too. Recalling sensory-rich memories activates parts of the brain linked to happiness, resilience, and even memory retention. I started noticing little moments during the day that felt worth remembering again. The smell of cinnamon, the warmth of dishwater, the neighbor's dog wagging his tail at me through the fence. Gratitude didn't just lift my mood, it sharpened my mind. And when you live alone feeling mentally clear and emotionally grounded is a gift beyond words. Morning habit. 3. The warm water wake up. Before I let a single sip of coffee touch my lips, I start my day with something so basic, it's easy to ignore. A tall glass of warm water with a squeeze of lemon and just a pinch of sea salt. I call it my internal wake-up call. At first, I thought water couldn't possibly do much, especially after years of feeling stiff, foggy, and slow in the mornings. But within the first week of adding this habit, something shifted. My joints felt looser, my digestion improved, the bloating I assumed was just part of aging began to fade. Here's the thing, after 7 or 8 hours of sleep, our bodies are dehydrated, and for seniors especially, dehydration creeps in quietly. It shows up as fatigue, dizziness, stiffness, even memory problems. Starting with warm water instead of cold helps your body absorb it faster. The lemon adds a touch of vitamin C and supports your liver. The sea salt, it delivers trace minerals and electrolytes we often lack, especially if we take medications that deplete them. I used to rely on coffee to feel awake, but all it really did was cover up my fatigue. Now, by hydrating first thing, I find that I don't need coffee. I enjoy it. And here's a bonus. I prepare my water the night before. I fill the glass, cut the lemon, set it by the sink. That small act of preparation is like leaving a love note to my future self, and when I drink it, I'm not just doing something healthy, I'm keeping a promise to myself that I matter, first thing in the morning. Morning habit. 4. The bedside mobility sequence. Before my feet ever touch the floor, I give my body a gentle wake-up. I don't jump into stretches or walk straight to the bathroom. I start with a short series of movements that I now call my mobility awakening. It's not exercise, it's preparation. When you're 87 and living alone, balance becomes everything. One wrong step on a stiff ankle or a shaky knee can change your life in a second. I knew that, and yet I used to push through my mornings without thinking, until one day I almost fell while reaching for my slippers. That near miss scared me, and it led to this life-saving habit. While still lying in bed, I begin with ankle circles, 10 in each direction, each foot. It helps send blood to the farthest parts of my body. Then I move to gentle knee hugs, pulling one knee at a time toward my chest, just enough to stretch my hips and lower back. Next, I do shoulder rolls while still on the pillow, 10 forward, 10 back, to release the tension from sleeping curled up. I follow it with slow head turns, left, right, up, down. Finally, I finish with what I call the wake-up wiggles, rapid movement of fingers and toes for about 30 seconds. It might sound silly, but it gets my circulation going and brings a sense of playfulness to my morning. The difference this made? Remarkable. I no longer feel that scary wobble when I stand up. My joints feel more fluid. My hands don't ache like they used to when holding a mug. My physical therapist said my balance and flexibility had improved more in 6 months than they had in the past 5 years. But beyond that, it gave me confidence. Confidence that I could trust my body again. And when you live alone, confidence is peace of mind. Morning habit. 5. A daily dose of purpose. This last habit might be the most powerful and the most overlooked. It has nothing to do with movement or water or even light. It's about meaning. Every morning, after I've finished my light ritual, my gratitude practice, my warm water, and my gentle stretches, I take one final step before I begin the rest of my day. I write down one small way I will connect with or contribute to someone else. It could be as simple as calling my niece to ask how her new job is going, sending a kind message to an old friend on Facebook, leaving a handwritten note in my neighbor's mailbox, or sharing vegetables from my little backyard garden with someone I know could use a bit of kindness. These aren't grand gestures. They're small, specific, and done today. Not someday. Not when I have more energy, just today. I started this habit on a day when I felt completely useless. I remember writing, "Today, I will call Mary next door and ask how her husband is doing." That 5-minute call turned into a 20-minute laugh-filled conversation, and Mary told me later it was the highlight of her week. That ripple, just one moment of connection, gave me a reason to wake up the next day and do it again. And again. Within a few months, I went from feeling invisible to being called the heart of the neighborhood. Science backs this up too. People with a strong sense of purpose live longer, fight off illness better, and experience less memory decline. In Okinawa, Japan, they call it ikigai, your reason for getting up in the morning. For me, this tiny habit became my ikigai. It reminded me that even at 87, I still have something to offer. I still matter. And so do you. The transformation then v now. If you had met me just a few years ago, you might not recognize the woman I was. I rarely left the house unless I had to. My energy was gone, my posture slouched, and I often used a cane to get around. I felt like I was shrinking, not just physically but from life itself. My A1C was creeping toward diabetes, my blood pressure was unstable, and my days were filled with silence, television, and the feeling that maybe my best years were behind me. Even my kids noticed. One of them once asked, "Are you okay, Mom?" I said yes, but I wasn't. Now at 87, I can say with full honesty, I feel alive again. I sleep deeply through the night. I walk confidently without assistance. I've lost nearly 30 pounds without ever going on a diet. My doctor cut my medications in half. My skin looks brighter. My mind is clearer. I remember names, appointments, conversations, and most of all, I remember who I am. I volunteer twice a week at the community library. I've started mentoring younger women online. I even joined a small gardening group where I've made new friends. My mornings are no longer something I endure. They're the most sacred part of my day. And all of it started with those 5 small habits: light, gratitude, water, gentle movement, and purpose. That's it. No miracle cures, no expensive programs, just consistency and kindness to myself. One sunrise at a time. The challenge, a new beginning, starts tomorrow. If you're still watching, I want to leave you with this. You don't have to change everything overnight. You don't have to become someone new. But what you can do, starting tomorrow, is choose one habit from this story. Just one. Maybe you'll begin by sitting with the sunrise for 10 quiet minutes. Or maybe you'll write a single sentence of gratitude. Maybe it's preparing warm lemon water the night before, or gently circling your ankles before your feet ever touch the floor. Or maybe, just maybe, it's picking up the phone and making someone else's day a little brighter. You don't need to do all 5 at once. I didn't. I started with one and the rest followed, like a gentle breeze moving through a still room. This isn't about age, it's about intention. Whether you're 60 or 96, you are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too old to begin again. If this story touched you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Elderly Roots, where we share honest, hopeful stories to help seniors like you live with strength, clarity, and joy. And if you know someone living alone who needs this message, send it to them. You might just change their life. In the comments, tell me, which of these 5 habits will you try this week? I'll be there reading every reply, cheering you on, because the truth is, you're not alone. Not anymore. You're growing stronger every morning, right here, with us.